Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to give you guys an update of what happened at OTAs today. The media was in attendance. Therefore, we heard from Robert Saleh this morning. We have some clips to bring you guys because the media was there to provide some footage, and the media's not there at every single practice. So these are the days where I can actually provide you content, some photos, some videos of actual what's going on the practice field at One Jets Drive. So if you guys are just tuning in for the first time at Jets Media, my name is Richie and I cover the New York Jets all throughout the offseason, of course, heading into the regular season. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy the content here. Really helps out the channel a ton. And feel free to comment down below your thoughts of the New York Jets OTAs and your biggest storylines and what you are really looking forward to the most heading into minicamp, which is in just a few weeks before there's a big hiatus until training camp, which kicks off, I think, late July, early August. So let's get right into it. So first, let's talk about Robert Saleh. He spoke with the media this morning, and he had some updates, some injury updates with Aaron Rodgers. He also had some other interesting things to say. Let's start off with Aaron Rodgers. He was limited today in practice. He's still dealing with that calf injury, but Robert Saleh seems like he's very optimistic that Aaron Rodgers could be returning to full participant either by Friday or early next week. So there's no one panicking in the Jets building about Aaron Rodgers' calf tweak. It's just a little tweak of his muscle. They're being precautionary, but look at these videos. Even though Aaron Rodgers wasn't participating as a full quarterback, he was still on the sideline, flipping darts down 40 yards, 60-yard dimes to the coaching staff. He has a calf sleeve on. He was working out with Randall Cobb on the bike, warming up the leg. So it's awesome to see Aaron Rodgers out there, of course, in that Jets uniform, rocking number 8. But the good news is the calf muscle does not seem to be major, and we all knew that. No one really is panicking about it, but just give you guys a little update. Robert Saleh seems to be expecting Aaron Rodgers to be back either Friday or early next week as a full participant in OTAs, which is, of course, a positive sign. Another positive sign, Breece Hall is looking darn good. Now, Robert Saleh was asked about Breece Hall, and he said that he's clocking at 22 miles per hour on the GPS. Here's some footage, courtesy of SNY this morning, of Breece Hall working out his knee, and I'm just so excited to see what Breece Hall is going to do. Robert Saleh seems to be optimistic that he will be ready to go for week number 1. He also said that there's a chance that, if they didn't want to be precautionary, that he could be ready by training camp. But Robert Saleh said he does not want to rush Breece Hall back with those ACL tears. You got to be really precautionary. You got to make sure you do it properly. And Breece Hall's kind of ahead of schedule in terms of rehab, which is a really good sign. And the Jets are going to make sure that he is 110% by week number 1. And he said, knock on wood. So any setbacks is obviously a possibility, but it's definitely a positive sign that Breece Hall is trending in the right direction. So shout out to Breece Hall. And also, side note, guys, expect a Breece Hall documentary shot by the One Jets Drive Films. This is going to be awesome. My man Seth Bradley, who's a director over there of Flight 23 and One Jets Drive, he said that they've been working on a documentary about Breece Hall's recovery. We're going to see the behind-the-scenes look of Breece Hall getting ready to go and rehabbing. That's going to be really fun to see. Now, moving on to another thing that Robert Saleh said. He got asked about DeAndre Hopkins, if the Jets are going to be interested in pursuing him. He said no. The Jets are very content with what they got at wide receiver. He said that they were interested in Odell, but when it comes to DeAndre Hopkins, he didn't say word for word, we're not pursuing him, but it seemed like Robert Saleh insinuated that they're not pursuing him, and they are very, content with their wide receivers of Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Corey Davis, and McCall Hardman, and Denzel Mims, and those boys. He was speaking glowingly of Corey Davis, that, the contract situation with his cap hit maybe get restructured, still working on that with Joe Douglas, and he's also expecting a child with his wife, I believe, so he's not currently at OTAs. And then another interesting thing that Robert Saleh said before we get deep into what happened at practice today is they got asked about Dwayne Brown. And Dwayne Brown is obviously competing for that left tackle spot. And I thought it was interesting to hear that he said that Dwayne Brown knows that he's not entitled to anything. And what that means is he's not going to be handed that left tackle's job just because he's Dwayne Brown, and he's a veteran, he's a rock, and he started last year. Like, Dwayne Brown understands that there's a possibility here that he may not win that left tackle job, and he might be a backup, and he's open to that possibility. And that was really interesting to hear, because I think a lot of Jets fans are just assuming that since Dwayne Brown's a veteran, since he's up there in age, since he's coming back and not retiring, he's like guaranteed to get that job regardless of what happens in training camp. I think that Robert Saleh is going to do whatever is best for the organization, and maybe maybe it is starting Dwayne Brown. Not saying that's not a possibility, but Dwayne Brown understands that he's not entitled to the job, and he's going in there with the mindset of trying to win it, just like Mekhi Becton, just like Max Mitchell, just like the young players. So I thought that was an interesting quote from Robert Saleh. Now, getting into what happened today at OTAs. So at OTAs today, Aaron Rodgers wasn't with the number one, so we don't really get to see, what the 7-on-7 is looking like. But according to Rich Tamini, there was not a great day for Zach Wilson, and Robbie Sabo as well was mentioning that Zach Wilson did not have a good practice today. The last time the media was in attendance, Zach Wilson was looking great. Now he's not looking too good, apparently. He was struggling with some throws, and this is expected from Zach Wilson. He's not going to go out there and just light it up right out of the gate. We know that there's a developmental process with Zach Wilson as the quarterback. We saw it in person last year in year number 2 on the field, and I think that this is going to be really beneficial for Zach Wilson to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers really help him out. Here's a clip from OTAs today of Zach Wilson doing some work and Aaron Rodgers walking around like a coach in his ear, say, hey, Zach, you got to put your footwork there. I don't know what he's saying to him, but he's definitely saying something cool to Zach Wilson to help out that development. So hopefully Aaron Rodgers can be that wise person in the ear of Zach Wilson to help out his development. Some players that flashed today in OTAs were Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Ruckert. Now, Garrett Wilson's not a shock. He's going to flash every single time he's on the practice field. Robert Saleh actually spoke this morning about Garrett Wilson. He said he's a, quote, juicy route runner, which was an interesting way to describe Garrett Wilson's talent, which I agree with. But Jeremy Ruckert continues to flash. Last time we made this video last week about the OTAs, when the last time the media was in attendance, they said the same thing, that Jeremy Ruckert continues to prove that he's flashing. And year number 2, look out. Jeremy Ruckert looks like a guy that could potentially make a big-time impact in year number 2 with this offense, and I think that's very exciting to see because I'm a big Jeremy Ruckert guy. I know a lot of you guys are as well. He has all the blocking tendencies that we know that he has. Run blocking, pass blocking is borderline great. Don't need that much development there. But the development that Jeremy Ruckert needs is the pass catching, route running, yards after the catch. We all know that he has that ability. It's just a matter of maximizing his potential, getting the opportunity out there. And it's awesome to hear that Jeremy Ruckert is going into year number 2 with some momentum. Some other things about some rookies. Joe Tippmann was playing guard today with Connor McGovern starting at center. The offensive line was a little weird today because AVT was not in attendance. And remember, this is OTAs. It's not mandatory, so not everybody's going to be at practice. So Joe Tippmann was playing guard. Connor McGovern was starting at center. I think Wes Schweitzer was playing right guard in replacement of AVT. And then the offensive tackle positions were a little all over the place because Mekhi Becton's still not practicing and all those things. So the offensive line, we'll see what the best 5 is going to be. It's going to be really intriguing to follow the center position because Joe Tippmann and Connor McGovern are obviously going to be competing for that starting center job, and I think the Jets are trying to get Joe Tippmann comfortable at guard. He never played guard in college, but the Jets view Joe Tippmann as a versatile piece that can move across the offensive line at center and guard, so I think that's why they're trying to implement that, just in case the Jets need to move him inside or kick him inside to right guard or left guard due to injuries. But me personally, I want Joe Tippmann to stay at center and not leave center. And I still got hope that he's going to win that center job and he's going to be the starting week 1 center for the New York Jets. Another player that flashed as a wide receiver, which is interesting, Nick Bowden, the fullback. Okay. Interesting to hear that from Rich Tamini. And then here's a tweet from Robbie Sabo. He's talking about the third string offense. Chris Streveler throwing some dimes to Jerome Cap for a touchdown, who is a really interesting player that the Jets brought in. He seems to be the diamond in the rough. I feel like Cap is going to be one of those preseason heroes for the Jets where we all fall in love with him. He has a really cool story, so keep tuned with that. Chris Streveler also found Zach Kuntz for a touchdown on 7-on-7, so Streveler's throwing some dimes, tearing up the Jets' third-string defense. Always great to see that. But, folks, that wraps up my OTA recap for today. Not really a lot to talk about because, again, Aaron Rodgers was not on the field practicing with the ones, and, it's OTAs, so training camp is when we really get to talk about the deep stuff. But overall, to recap it, Breece Hall's looking good. He's ahead of schedule. Does not seem like the Jets are going to be pursuing DeAndre Hopkins. Aaron Rodgers was limited today, but he is looking good for Friday or early next week for a full participant, which is a great sign in his progression coming back from his calf strain. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, guys, of OTAs today. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you did not already. Really helps out the channel a ton. I'll catch you guys next time, and always, let's go Jets. Peace out, everybody.